to humanly police all the rape and abuse texts and tweets that are sent every day. There's just too many of them.
Yeah, and of course it was set up to enable free speech, and with free speech comes unpleasant things as well as positive things. And if you try to regulate that, doesn't it actually sort of take away its USP?
I don't think so. I don't think this is a free speech issue. You can insult me and my views all you like, but when you email me threats of rape, threats of violence, death threats to my children, when you tweet those things, you're perpetrating a criminal offence. So it's not really an issue of free speech. It's actually more an issue of practicality. We can't ask the police to go around spending all their time on Facebook and Twitter and internet chat rooms. That's just not possible. And we can't ask Twitter to provide human moderators for this kind of thing. What they are doing is providing a button. That's good. They can do algorithms, and that's good. But I think we have to perhaps be slightly practical about it. It's a consequence of social media. Blocking the trolls sometimes works better than just giving them attention.
Yeah, but how far do you go? Because of course Twitter is totally international. So yeah, of course, if somebody's threatening you with rape or murder or whatever, but if you go further down the line, what legal jurisdiction are you actually operating in?
That's one of the problems. But even if the legal jurisdiction is completely clear, you say, well, of course, if somebody is threatening you with rape. The fact is, for women in public life and women on Twitter, they are threatened with rape on Twitter every day, every other day. I can't count the number of times I've been threatened with rape on Twitter, and I never took it to the police because I feel that the police have got more important things to do. No one is condoning that abuse, but you do have to think to yourself, is such and such really a threat, or is it just some pathetic little boy being unpleasant? If I think it's the latter, my best recourse is to simply to block him, and we have to be aware of the limits of what we can do to police threats on social media.
Well, I mean, when you say you've been threatened many times with rape, I mean, how many times? I mean, this sounds
Hundreds
appalling.
of times.
I mean,
hundreds, possibly that many, perhaps thousands of times. And the only time I actually went to the police was when a death threat was emailed against my children, because using my discretion, I took that threat seriously, and I didn't take the other threats seriously, although I knew that they were crimes. After the publication of the hacking reports, when I was clearly against the hacking report's conclusions, and I supported Rupert Murdoch and James Murdoch, I received hundreds of threats of rape and violence. And what I did was sort of what the feminist campaigner Caroline Criado Perez has been doing over the Jane Austen banknotes. She said she's shouting back. Well, I shouted back. I favorited some of the abuse, and I let people see what was out there. Sometimes you can call on the Twitter community to do its own policing, and I took the view that naming and shaming was better than trying to ask Twitter to catch water using a sieve.
Yeah, and just a final point. I mean, it's going to be incredibly difficult, though, isn't it, for anyone to be identified behind these Twitter accounts? That's the other problem, and you know, actually identifying where they are geographically.
Well, Twitter can do what it can do, again, in terms of blocking ISPs, but we all know there are ways around it. Twitter can remove the account of an abuser, and he can take 2 seconds, get another email account from Gmail, create another account, and continue on with the abuse. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth my time? Is it worth Twitter's time? And you take those threats seriously, which are serious, and you try to ignore the rest. Don't feed the trolls. It's a really good internet principle, and women have to apply it.
OK, Louise Mensch, thanks very much.
Thank you.